Whatever. All right. Good Monday morning, you guys. So, for us here in the South, at least in Texas, we're happier people today because it's warmer and it's mildly wet, but we'll take that. Okay. The snow has come and gone. It's great. Yay. It's away now, which is even better. Even better. But you guys listening to Author Talk with me, Amy, Russell, Valerie, and our lovely author guest today is Tricia. So, you guys, let's dive into the weekend, shall we? Yes. Okay. So before anybody comes for me and all poor Josh and all this stuff, okay, I did have plans. I was going to go to IKEA because I know that everyone hates when you go to IKEA and you have to put the furniture together. I actually really love that part. I don't know why it's like therapeutic for me to put it together. I don't know why. I'm built different. Okay. And so that ended up not happening because I don't like going out late at night, far away from home and having to commute home. You know, it's like an hour and 15 minutes for me to go. So I ended up not going and just having like a lazy weekend and hanging out with my kids. And they got a Nintendo Switch for Christmas. And so we all played like Mario Kart and just kind of hung out. And, you know, I slowly did my laundry. So Tricia, laundry is going to be the death of me. It's the vein of my existence. Okay. I can wash and dry it all day, but having to fold it and put it away is just, I wish that we could all just live in baskets. Okay. So it just is the bane of my existence. So the fact that I even did some of it while having a relaxed weekend is, you know, it's a win for me. It's a bonus. But I'm going to go to Russell because Russell has a friend with him today, and I'm dying to hear how his weekend was with Rita. So Russell, how was your weekend?
It was great. We had a new member of our family. We picked up Rita this weekend at the breeder, and it's been hell since because she's 11 weeks and it's worse than having a baby. And yesterday was really hard because there were football games on. And this dog does not understand that when there's 2 minutes till halftime, she can just wait.
No.
And so I was punished many times, twice because I was punished by her making messes because I wouldn't take her outside because I needed to watch the last 2 minutes of the game of the half, and then punished again when my wife saw what was going on and why couldn't I just pause the game and take her out. And you can imagine the dialogue. So, but it was a great weekend.
Oh, so it's your fault.
It was my fault, by the way. It actually was my fault. But that's beside the point.
Yes. Well, I'm happy that you have her, and she seems like a rascal that's going to keep your hands full, and I love it.
Yes,
I love it.
She's adorable.
I'm a sucker
she looks
for puppies.
Fluffy. Doesn't she look fluffy?
I know. You just want to pet her. Yeah.
And when she weighs 70 pounds, you'll be able to put your hand on her head and a puff of hair.
I love it. You know, that's how dogs tell you they love you, is by leaving hair.
Those vacuum cleaner, expensive, permanent rolling vacuum cleaner bots.
Yeah.
To work the house because of her. But I mean, that's supposed to not be enough, even that. So
yeah, that's what my daughter has because she has a big dog and she goes, "Oh gosh, it runs all the time, just trying to get all the hair from Pussy."
I love it. It's how dogs tell you that they love you, and when you leave without them, they're still going with you because you're covered in hair. You know, it's just the ultimate love you package. Yes. Russell, you have to just embrace it. But no, I think she's adorable. It's like that. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but my kids love the Despicable Me movies. And it's like the girl in there that sees a unicorn. She's like, it's so fluffy. Like, that's what she reminds me of. So I love her. I love her.
Yeah. She looks like adorable. A toy, just honestly, just like a little toy.
Yeah, she kind of looks like a stuffed toy.
Yeah. Except, she looks, I love it.
So does she sleep in a crate or does she sleep in the bed with you?
Of course she sleeps in a crate. Though my wife kept saying that she should sleep with us. And I'm like, no, because you know why. Because she'll make messes and it will be on the bed. I mean, But
I'm Team Melinda.
yeah,
I'm Team
I had
Melinda.
to get up twice in the middle of the night and take her out in the rain, and it's very cold in the mountains of Georgia right now. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty tired. Anyway, so let's move on. I'm tired of talking about it. I'm going to move
Oh,
on to
Russell, I was going
Maria.
to tell you, you sound like me on an average Tuesday when my kids don't want to go to bed or they have a nightmare and they're up at 2 and you just went to bed at like 1:30 because you're reading a book and you're just like, oh, for the love of God. Yeah. So me and you can relate. So the next time you're up, just text me, man. I'll be there. I'm up.
I almost thought about giving the dog a Benadryl last night.
Oh,
Give her a Benadryl, put her to sleep. But I would have gotten in trouble with my wife for that too if she'd have found out. Don't drug your dog. What kind of person are you? It would be terrible. So I'll have to keep it a secret.
well, yes. Yes. Don't do that. Don't do that. Valerie, Tricia, what did you guys do this weekend?
Tricia, you can go first if you like.
It was snowing and cold. I live in Colorado, so it was snowy and cold here all weekend, and I was huddled up. I did lots of laundry, and I'm just like you, Aimee. I hate folding them, so I can wash them all day and dry them. That's fine, but then they're just in baskets. So I got through that. Yeah, I was telling them before, my dog had surgery on Friday because he ate too many of his little toys. And so I was kind of just watching him all weekend, and I started a new screenplay class so I could just sit there with him and do my little screenplay. So that was actually not a bad weekend.
No, that sounds
The
fun.
whole dog surgery part, right?
Well,
Yeah,
that doesn't
yeah.
sound fun.
That
doesn't
set
sound
us
fun
back.
at all.
Yeah.
Maybe you should use Benadryl on your dog too. Not that I'm going to say that.
The snow doesn't sound fun either.
Well, yeah, it was outside. I didn't go out there, so. But they gave us very nice pain medicine for the dog that kept him very calm, and so he just slept all weekend. So.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay,
That's
Val.
awesome.
Nice.
Well, so Friday I was at 2 theater shows because they had to be rescheduled because of the snow and ice. So I was like, wow, when does this happen? I go to 2 theater shows. So I saw & Juliet on Friday, the Broadway musical, which was a retelling of when Juliet wakes up and then she sees Romeo's dead. She's like, you know what? I really don't want to die. And so, and it tells
it's
her
really
life
not a
about,
romantic comedy.
huh?
So it's really not a romantic comedy because it's not romantic.
It was a comedy. They made
doesn't
it,
want to die.
What's crazy though, I wasn't expecting this, and I kind of had read about it, but just experiencing it. It was a musical based in mostly 90s music because the producer songwriter Max Martin, I'm pretty sure that's right, all his songs were included in this musical. So things like Since You've Been Gone, Backstreet Boys, all these different things, just oh gosh, what else? Katy Perry songs, Britney Spears songs, all of them were part of the story as Juliet and her nursemaid and her they go to Paris to escape her parents so she doesn't go to a nunnery. And so then it turned out being better than I thought. I was like, okay, I don't know how this is gonna work out, but the talent was over the top, the show was over the top. It was because it's a Broadway touring show, so it was just amazing. And then on Friday night, then the Alley had a show called December, A Love in the Makings, and it was about a poetry teacher, college level poetry teacher who bonds with her student, and then they kind of connect, but then she's like, wait, I'm way older than you, we can't do this. And then it follows them years through as they keep connecting, and they keep putting it off. I won't put a spoiler alert on there, just tell you what's going on, but it was kind of nice just hearing, because he becomes a journalist and she's poetry. I was like, wow, I have a lot of connections here because I teach creative writing and I'm a journalist and all these different things, but they really have a lot of focus on the poetry as well, sharing that. So seeing that on stage was kind of a cool thing to do. And on Saturday, it's our church, the Catholic Daughters have an annual bunco competition. And so I'm part of that. And so I did that. And I don't play bunco very often. So every time I go, I have to like get refreshed on the rules. People are out for blood on this thing, screaming, throwing the dice, all this kind of stuff. You get a lot of prizes. So yeah, so it's kind of fun to do something different like that, just to and the camaraderie between people, it was a good chance to get to meet more people that you might see out and about, and then you talk to them and get to know their personality. Like if you don't get us a 6, I'm coming for you. So that was just, and then Sunday was just soup day. We had a lot of soup, so that was good. Just recovering.
We need to thank the people that are listening to us. Most people don't watch us on Monday mornings live. Most people listen to us on our podcast. We're top 1% of what's the channel that we're the top 1% of, Aimee?
I don't remember. We're in the top 10 of good pods. I know that.
Right.
It's like
we're top
Pod
1%
Nation,
of a different channel. Anyway, thank you for listening to us. I couldn't even find us at one point during the first few months we were on podcast channels until Aimee did her magic. Now even I can find us. That means you can find us. Aimee, where do people find us?
Yeah, so you guys can find us anywhere that you can search for a podcast. My go-to places is Amazon, Spotify. If you're an Apple user, iTunes. If you are an Android user, Google is where you can find us. Good Pods is another one that you can look us up on. But like Russell said, we're just really happy and grateful. This has always been a whole lot of fun for us to do this. And Valerie, girl, I've played Bunko one time and those women were out for blood and I have not been back. It's a fun game, but if you don't know how to play, you are not welcome back.
Well, they were really good about having the rules available and stuff, and they're like, okay, just and then just if you get 3 of a kind, then you can roll again, and I got a bunko one time out of like 12 rounds, and some lady got 6, and I was like, how'd you do that? Did you get like lucky dice or what? Just so and the other topic of you guys folding clothes. I can binge watch a whole like 3 episodes of a Netflix series while I'm folding clothes, and just like it's mindless. And then but the emptying the laundry baskets, that's a whole nother story. They just kind of sit there till like the very, very last minute till I'm like, oh, I need that again.
Oh, see, yeah, but I have to fold them warm out of the dryer or I won't fold them. That dryer, that thing gets put back on several times throughout the day. But no, Valerie, you were talking about these Broadway shows, and Russell, I know, but I want to say this, and then we'll do our author interview. But I, for the first time ever, watched Wicked. So I don't go to Broadway shows. I've never been to one. I would love to go. When I lived in Houston, it was a different situation. And now I live far from there and I don't like car rides. So I don't do that. But I finally watched Wicked. Granted, it was the movie, but I did finally watch it with my daughters because, Texas, and it barely snows. We get an inch of snow. The whole state is closed down. I mean, So Meta was out of school for 2 days and I was like, well, let's watch Wicked. See if you guys like musicals like I did. Oh my goodness. That is a good one. That is a good one for sure. I also had never seen The Greatest Showman. And so I watched that one too. I watched a lot of musicals last week. I know. So now I've been playing the soundtrack and doing all kinds of stuff. And Josh is like, what has happened? You've turned into you like show tunes.
It's the kind of thing that makes Josh
He wasn't home.
work.
He was not home when we watched these.
Thank God for
fair.
Josh.
Why not? And my daughter loved Wicked too. I haven't had a chance to see the movie, but I've seen the stage performance twice, and it just will just blow your mind.
Music all day, you listen to it. Oh,
yeah.
It's terrible.
Well, no, I don't know. I want to compare the Broadway Wicked to the movie, because I'm sure the Broadway one is better. I can make that assumption.
Just the live performance in general. It's just that impact of the talent. Just like you're like, oh my God, they're really doing that in person. And it's just even the lead girl who played Juliet, and then there's also William Shakespeare's wife is another protagonist in the story, Anne Hathaway. And so between the two of them, they were just flat out killing the audience, killing them.
You guys are killing me.
I can only imagine. Okay, so I have one little fun fact that you guys don't know, and then we're going to move on, okay? But I feel like this shines a light into who I am that you guys just don't know. So when I was pregnant with Sky, my daughter's coming in, but when I was pregnant with this one right here, right? Yes, you can have your grapes. So I didn't even realize this until Josh pointed it out to me. I watched a crap ton of musicals. Okay. I watched Mamma Mia 1 and 2. Okay. And it's very obvious because now Josh is like, the two names I picked out for her were Sophie or Sky. Not Sophia, Sophie. Well, come to find out, I know I probably faded, but come to find out, those are the two main characters from Mamma Mia. Okay. I'm just saying. So I love musicals and show tunes. Mamma Mia is my thing. That is my movie.
Well, you know what,
my
too, Aimee, I think
musical.
is
I
so
love it.
so crazy is that all these things like musicals and just the influences and how they bear an impact on us later. Like I grew up watching all these things with my grandma and my mom, and it just infiltrates your life and just gives you a different perspective on
And that's why
music
you
and
shouldn't watch
storytelling.
musicals. That's why you shouldn't watch them.
No,
Also,
I
you
love them.
shouldn't
I'm
listen
not
to the
good. You
music.
can't make me stop.
No,
How about you, Tricia? How do you feel
Sky
about
is a
all this?
beautiful name.
Oh, it is beautiful.
It is a beautiful name. Yeah, no, I love musicals, but my husband's just like Russell. He will not go see one. So if I'm going with my girlfriends. I did see Wicked in the theater. That was really fun. But I haven't seen it on stage yet. I'm the same, Aimee. I wanted, like, the friend I saw it with said she had been to the musical, but it was so long ago she can't really remember how different it was. So now I want to know.
Actually, I will go to them, but only as a trade with my wife if she'll go to an opera, because I'm an opera guy.
Yeah.
So if she wants to go to a musical with me, she has to at least go to one opera with me. And by the way, I owe her a musical now, so that's pretty scary.
You know, that's interesting. Yeah, I've never been to an opera, and I'm not even going to lie to you. I guess I'm going to show my age, but I didn't even know that there were still operas around, to be honest.
The Houston Opera Company is like the third best in America.
Wow. Okay. See, I did not know that. I would love to do one of those. I find those are fascinating.
Well, you know what, Aimee? Sometimes they have operas that are geared towards like entertaining for children and families. So that might be something you could, you dip your toe in and then say like, okay, I did it and we liked it. Actually, or we didn't like it.
This month, La Boheme is in Houston. So you should get a babysitter for your children, and you should make Josh drive into Houston for the weekend and go to it. It's a spectacular opera.
Yes, yes.
Okay, I will tell him that Russell told him it was spectacular and he should go.
Yes.
So.
Right.
A musical you might like, Russell, is Hamilton. I've seen that one a couple times, and it's the fact that they can just.
I can't cut my wrist if you tried to make me go.
He's not even going to entertain that.
I mean, my wife would have to go to 3 Italian operas with me before I would agree to it.
Oh,
I don't like the music.
Oh man,
they don't hit the notes long enough.
Oh my goodness. You guys, let's get Tricia talking about her books. And if she likes the opera, let's tie Tricia in. So Valerie, you take it away.
Oh my gosh. Okay, let me go back. Hold on. I gotta switch gears here. So Tricia, we just heard that you've been acknowledged for 2 separate awards, right? Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Golden Awards.
Can you tell us what all about that, please?
Right. So I have a fantasy series that has 2 fantasy series, the Realm Chronicle series and the Kingdom Journal series. And To Be a Fae Queen, which is the first book in the Realm Chronicle series, won a Global Book Award. And then I also have it's a middle grade, what do you call it? It's more of a mythology, but it's the Aztec mythology. So called Ezraya, that won a book award as well. So that was really exciting.
That is super exciting. Tell us a little bit about your series.
Sure. So the Kingdom Journals, which is what kind of started this whole journey with the Kingdom Journals and Realm Chronicle series, was based, I thought it was going to be a vampire series. And my first character is a vampire witch hybrid, which was different because in most witch worlds, those two can't exist together in one being. But so I started off that way, and then it quickly snowballed into more of a witch series. So a trinity of witches has to come together to break a curse on the witch lines that damns their souls to purgatory. And it's called Kingdom Journals because in each book we get the voice of each of the different witches. So in the first book, the first two witches find each other, and then they go on a quest to find the third witch, and then they also have to find this lance to break this curse. So that's a 4-book series. Spoken through, and you see it through the eyes of each of 4 different witches. One of my antagonists, I really couldn't make him a bad guy in the end, so somehow he became a good guy and got his own book. But so yeah, that was a lot of fun. And when I got to the end of that series, it was too hard to let them go. I had this fairy character who comes to the human realm and helps them in one of their big battles. And I said, well, maybe I should explore this fairy character. So the Realm Chronicles took over her story as she's a 15-year-old fae princess who her father hands the crown to. And now she's the first and only female monarch in her realm. So she has challenges from the other monarchs as well as from within her own kingdom, and also this antagonist that's a holdover from the Kingdom Journal series, who's an evil, I guess she's a witch soul at this point, because I won't get that away. Anyway, so yes, they're still battling Sonia, who was an evil witch.
Mm-hmm. So I love that you have a spinoff. That is so great. I mean, what made you like say, okay, she's strong enough to be her own story? What was her characteristics as you were developing her to make her that?
Right. So I wrote her, she was a short story. Her name is Titania, Princess Titania. And I wrote her for an anthology. So it was just supposed to be like 6,000 word short story anthology. And it had to be a fantasy character with some kind of psychiatric or mental challenge. So I made her have anxiety and these panic disorders. And for a princess, it wasn't really acceptable for her to have that. And she had lost her 4 brothers who were, in order, they would have taken over the monarchy instead of her, right? But they're all killed in this epic battle that was 3 years prior. We don't really see that, but so she's the last in line to take her father's crown. And he decides after a battle, he gets hurt and he decides, well, my daughter should take this, but she still struggles with this anxiety and panic attacks. And, can I really do this? Should I do this? So she has that decision to make. But it's really in her heart that this is where she belongs. This is what she was meant to do. She believes it. So she trudges forward, and at least, yes, she does become queen. I'll give that, because the first book is to be a fae queen. So that's not a huge spoiler there. But she was just such a strong character, and I wanted to keep the witches and the vampires from the Kingdom Journal series alive. So those two intertwine throughout the Realm Chronicles series.
So I know you got the award for the teen and young adult action adventure category. How is this relating? Do you think it's like the personal struggles of this particular reader group, or what that's making that, and also your other book is also teen and young adult science fiction and fantasy. What do you like about sharing your, I guess, certain characters with this age group to show them strength or perseverance or what?
All of those things. Yes, I think it's like a really poignant age. I mean, as one who, I don't know, didn't love those years in my life and had lots of struggles, I can relate to having those struggles, and the amount of change you make at that time in your life is so big. And I feel like exploring a lot of those issues through fantasy, because that's what I did when I was young. My head was in a book all the time, and I love fantasy. Same. So it's just a way, like, even being Alina, who is the vampire witch hybrid, and she's a vampire, she's half witch, and her mom sends her to human high school. So where do you belong? What are you supposed to do with that, right?
Yes. Yeah, kind of just finding your place and your strengths and, overcoming weaknesses, things like that. That's what it sounds like to me.
Definitely, yeah. And it's action and adventure, because she has to fight off all these different beings who try to take over her kingdom and her realm. And then she has to learn when she needs help and learn when she can do it herself, and all of those things.
Oh yeah, yeah. Growing, there's so many things going on in your life when you're that age group. Absolutely. Tell us about your other book about Azraya. Is that correct? Aztec Priestess.
Right, Azraya. So this was a really interesting project. I'd never written a book with anybody else, but I met this artist online. I guess I met him in 2020 because when everything exploded in Zoom calls. But we met, I think, like on a social media, like how to do social media as a creative. And I really was drawn to his work. He had this Goddesses series. And so we met offline. Well, we met online just together, just one-on-one. And, you know, we talked to each other more. And he said eventually, it was like, we should do something together. And I was like, okay, well, that'd be cool. And, you know, I was thinking, because I worked with another artist and we made a coloring sheet. So I was thinking a coloring sheet, right? Or a card or something that kind of explored our mutual passion for these female amazing characters, right? And he comes out and he's like, we should write a book together and I'll illustrate it. And I was like, okay, I can do that. So it was really fun. He came up with the name Azraya, and then I did some research and found out that it had like Latin American roots. And so I created a character around the name. And then I guess I mostly came up with the storyline, but it was really good to have someone else like invested in this character because I would have a problem and he would say, oh, that doesn't fit. Like the storyline you put there doesn't fit with her character. Let's figure out what she would really do in this situation. So that was a lot of fun. And Matt Mays was the illustrator and he's Mexican too. So he was able to illustrate this beautifully. Turn it the right way. Yeah. So
nice.
That's Azraya is a baby. And she's born with a mark on her hand. So her parents take her to a shaman who says that she's going to have issues in the future. He's seen this before, and that his parents need to bring her back to him before she's 4. So they bring her back to him when she's 4, and he trains her supposedly not to be, I guess, not to harm herself or others in their community, supposedly, but she has this gift where she can see the future. So it turns out that the shaman starts using her and he gets money from other people for her predictions. And as she grows older, she's realizing this is going on. And there's a breaking point where one of the kings, and so it is a little bit of historical because it's when this Aztec realm was being taken over by the Spaniards. So the king comes to the shaman and says, what do I do? And the shaman tells him the opposite of what she saw he should do. So at that point, she's like, no, I'm going to save my Aztec people. So yeah, it was fun to write.
Both of these sound like they're part of your wheelhouse of writing. Can you tell us a little bit about your other books, please?
Sure. I have 2 different hats. So I do the YA fantasy and sci-fi, and then my other hat is romance because I do so many things to put all these fantasy characters in peril, and then I have to have a cleanse. And I'll go back and I'll write, okay, the worst thing that can happen in a romance is somebody dumps you, right? So yeah, I write that under Maria Jane, which is my perfect romance series, which starts with the book Perfect, which is kind of an alternate ending romance. You can pick which ending maybe you like the most. And then the next in the series, Perfect Always, As Close to Perfect, and Perfect Office Pack follow people in the same friend group and their romantic escapades, I guess.
So which came first, the romance writing or the science fantasy?
I started my writing career with a series called Being Me, and the first book is This Me? But I guess the series, it's a crossover series. It could be considered inspirational, but also like new adult coming of the age. It's a college series about a girl who develops anorexia and her struggle with overcoming and her recovery from anorexia. So that was a fictionalized account of my experience. And that's kind of what got me into writing. And then I just got the bug. Like I love writing, all forms.
Russell, did you have any questions?
Absolutely do. I have like a million questions. What's your writing routine? What's your challenge? Do you have individual challenges in each book? Blah, blah, blah. My first question is, what is your weekly, daily how you conceive it writing routine.
Right. So when I'm working on a project, I like to write every day, because if I don't write every day, then I lose where I am and I don't remember what I wrote before. So I have to go back and read and start again. My editor finally got me to start doing some outlines, which I really resisted. But now I don't outline before I write a chapter or a section, but I outline at least like what I just wrote in the chapter, so I don't have to go back as many times. If I'm writing a book, I usually have like the beginning and end. I know where I'm starting, I know what my basic characters are, and I know where I want to end. But I'll have a few ideas for scenes in the middle, but the really fun part for me is like creating those challenges and how they get from point A to point Z and everywhere in between, and the ups and downs that you need to create for those plot lines. Did that answer that question, or was there another one?
It doesn't matter. It matters only that you answer the question as you heard me ask it, right?
Okay.
Okay. So how often do you finish a book? What book are you working on now? How do you pick the genre that you're in at the time?
Right. So I
had a million questions.
That's okay. So I just finished writing the finale to the Realm Chronicles series. So To Be a Fae will be the last book of the Realm Chronicles series, which comes out in July. And it's been edited. I have the cover, although I haven't revealed my cover yet. And my formatter is going to put it into formatting next week so we can get it out to advanced copy reviewers. So that's very exciting. And then I feel like I have kind of a lull, because I'm like, oh, I can't write. I'm not writing this character anymore. I've given her happily ever after. And I have part of another romance started. I usually stagger them. So usually I write fantasy romance. But as I was writing the fourth book of the Realm Chronicles series, I just had to keep going. I wanted the finale to be finished, so I kept going with that one. I have about 25,000 of my next romance, but I took a little break and I'm writing the screenplay for the first book of the Kingdom Journal series. So doing something new. I'm taking our screenplay writing class, and that's really exciting because I think it'd be fun to get that into that format.
Okay, what are you working on right now as a writer in inner work in your particular what you're working on, whatever you're writing right now?
Right.
What is your inner challenges you're doing it? For example, in one of my books, one of my inner challenges was writing from a woman's perspective. It was a huge challenge for me. Do you have any challenge like that right now that you're working on in your writing?
I do. So writing this screenplay, adapting Kingdom of Embers, a novel-length book, to a screenplay is such, I mean, I'm just starting the process, but it's already interesting because you have to like boil down and get really tight what you think are like the most important plot points that are going to be theatric and move your movie or your scene or your play along to get where you want to go. So I'm looking at my novel and trying to decide what were the really most important scenes to show people in that format. So I go back and forth all the time. I'll erase and redo, and no, this was more important. No, this was more important. And did I really need that for the book? And second guessing what I wrote in the book. So yeah, that's been a really interesting process, and it's gotten going. Like I'm still not sure what the answer will be yet. I'm excited to see like the feedback in doing this course. So
how are you going to market? Like, how are you going to market this screenplay you're working on now?
That's another big question. Like, I don't know anything about marketing screenplays. I'm getting
and then tell us why you did it then.
Right. So I'm getting, and I think it's just because I was done with that series and I wanted to challenge myself and do something new. And that's, yeah. And it's interesting because I'm learning like the route for a screenplay might be similar to the route for like getting your novel published by a publisher, right? You pitch it to the people and they like it or they don't like it, and then you move on and pitch it to another person. So are
you writing a screenplay as a challenge to yourself, not because you have a market for it or you have a plan on that? You're doing it for yourself.
I am doing it for myself, but once I finish it, and if I think it's really good, I probably will move forward with pitching it.
Of course.
Right. Yeah.
Mhm.
So you have
That's
to have a
exciting.
lot of, I'm learning you have to have a lot of like presentation skills too, which for me as an introverted writer isn't my first love. So I might go back to Toastmasters to develop some of those.
Oh, really? Is you did that to help you in like doing podcasts and that sort of thing?
I did. Yeah. So when I have my own business too, which is kind of separate from my author business. And I realized as it was harder for me to be in front of people and talk to people and be comfortable doing that. Whether it was standing up in a group of 30 people or just one-on-one meeting or meeting 4 or 5 people like this. So I went to Toastmasters, and actually that's why I started my podcast, because I was in Toastmasters. I had to do this big challenge, and it was COVID as well. And I missed all my author friends. So I said, well, if I start this podcast, then I can talk to my author friends. I can do my Toastmaster challenge, and I can share our books with everyone. So it was like a triple win.
So is it a challenge to even be on this show?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, I get nervous, and it kind of sucks my energy more than other things, do. So, but I've been in science. Like my history is, I was a scientific research, and I had to do a lot of presentations. So the more I do it, I know the more comfortable I get. So it's that practice and continuing to do it.
Thank you so much. Thank you for answering.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that you're able to go across so many genres. When you started your writing journey, did you envision anything like that, or just kind of one thing led to another?
Yeah, one thing led to another. I started writing when my kids were little. I was a stay-at-home mom, and I was bored. I'm not bored during the day. I mean, it's a lot of work. It's emotional, it's physical, taking care of little kids. And after they went to sleep, I started watching Netflix, but then it didn't really challenge me. I think I needed something to challenge me for my brain. So I started writing like a fictionalized account of my experience with anorexia. And I got 200,000 words into that. And my friends were like, you have to do so. And that took like 8 years. So that was over a long time. That was writing maybe 30 minutes to an hour, like
Sure.
in the evenings. But they said, you have to do something with it. Let someone read it. Let us read it. And I had an author friend who's an indie author and an editor, and she liked it. I mean, she kind of cut it up. She cut the whole thing up. But the basic premise was there.
That's the course, right? Editor, a good editor's always
Right. Yes,
yeah.
definitely. So
Yes.
that became my first 2 books. And yeah, I needed to tell, I just felt like I needed to tell that story and show people the hope there. And so once I got that done, the 4-book series, that it became a 4-book series. And then I just realized I love writing, and I wanted to keep doing it.
Yes. And I've heard this from other authors, that there's always someone in the background saying, you can do this, you're good enough, or whatever, because I know we have a lot of doubt, like sometimes like, oh, is this just for me? I don't know. It's all the effort. But then when you hear that validation that, your words are important to somebody, how does that make you feel?
Oh, it does so much. Like, it just excites me so much. I mean, that's the part I like most, probably, is connecting with readers and connecting with people who love reading and characters and fantasy and living in that world as much as I do.
Exactly. Russell, were you going to say something?
Remember a few weeks ago when you asked that inspiring question of everyone, including our visiting author that day? Was it about who inspired them? What was that question, Valerie? And would you ask Tricia that question?
Yes. Yeah. Was there a particular, I guess, person that inspired you to become a writer? Or like you said, you were just kind of, when the kids went to bed or something, but there had to be like a little fire burning. Was there something like that for you?
Yeah, and sometimes I'm embarrassed of this answer, but I'm just going to be proud of it because it's a lot of people's answers. When Stephanie Meyer came out with Twilight, and I learned like how her story started, and that she wasn't a writer at all, that she just had this dream, and this whole story started from this dream. And I was doing my writing. It was the same time I was reading her books and writing in the evening. And then I thought, you know what? Like, I could do this. Like, I could publish this book. Just like, I mean, who knew? No, I didn't really think that I was going to become like Stephanie Meyer. I mean, that's like a whole other level. But, this could become something. And yeah, I think it was it was her. And that's, I mean, I had my author friend also who was an indie publisher and published her books. So that inspired me too. Just knowing someone like, you know, more personally than, you know, Stephanie Meyer. But yeah, so it was really cool to hear her story. And I'm glad she shared that with everyone, because I think it did influence a lot of people and inspire a lot of people.
Exactly.
So how do people find out more about you, keep track of you, reach out to you? What's all your contact information?
Right. So my website is triciacopeland.com. And you can go there. You can download 2 free short stories. You can download a romance or a fantasy or both, whichever you'd like, to get an intro to my writing or reading, I guess. I have a podcast, Finding the Magic Podcast, which I interview authors just like you do. So that is so fun. And yeah, I'm on all the Instagram, Facebooks as Tricia Copeland. I have my YouTube channel, Tricia Copeland Author Tricia Copeland. It's one of those. And yeah, that's the best place to find me.
I love it. I love
Yeah.
I know.
Go ahead, Amy.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say. So you had mentioned that you had a business, and then you very much like, I love this about it, and Russell probably knows what I'm talking about. But you said outside of your author business, and so you view being an author as a business, which we've done this for 9 years now, and I want to say that I can count on one hand how many times authors have actually said that they are, and being an author is a business. And so I just want to give you like a big kudos to that, because I'm pretty sure that I've only heard 3 other people say that besides you in the 9 years.
I heard that too, Amy. I totally heard it too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the president.
I know, I was dying. I was like, I'm gonna wait.
I'm the secretary. I'm the creator. I'm the social media marketer. I am the business.
You are everything, right? And so that's why when you said that, I was dying to say something. I was like, no, I'll just wait. Like, this is how I'll wrap it up, is I'll wait and I'll like position this, because I think to be a successful writer, and you can determine what you feel is successful, right? Like, success looks different for every author and every genre and whatever your goals are. But I think to get to that would be having the mindset of like, it is a business. I am the face, the writer, everything. I am a one-woman show on this like boat ride, and we're just going to go where I want it to go, right? And I think that for a lot of authors make or breaks them, right? I think, and it's important to stick to that, because you have, I've done this for a long time. Valerie's a writer. She's done this for a long time. So is Russell. And I really do believe that it makes or breaks an author and what their intentions are and what their success to them looks like. And if you don't go into it as a business, you just go into it as like, oh, I'm going to sell this book. And like you had mentioned, Stephanie Meyer with Twilight, right? But you're like, oh, like if I get there, great. If not, it just gave me the inspiration to do it, right? And I think that's the perfect mindset to go in. But, some of those is like, I have to make money from these books. I have to do that. And it doesn't always come that way. And so I just want to give you kudos for being like, this is a business, and it's me, myself, and I running this, and I do other stuff too, And I think that's great. And I think you write into really popular genres. And it just sounds like because you love them. And I think that that's important to kind of go into it with. And that, hey, I totally get it. Because I work from home and I take care of my kids. But there's just sometimes when all my kids are gone, and my husband's gone because they're like camping or doing that outdoorsy stuff that I'm not built for and stuff. And you're just sitting there and you do get bored. Like, you're just like, how much more can I clean? How many more? Like, I don't want to sit here and just do the laundry. I don't want to just sit here. I'm going to leave the sink alone. Right. And there's only so many shows you can watch on Netflix. Like, it does get tiring, does get like boring, and not that it's unfulfilling, but it is one of those where my mom always told me, being a mom and cleaning the house and stuff is a thankless job. And so you're just like, I just want to do something else. So I totally get it. And kudos to you. I am not a writer, girl. You have gotten my emails, and you know why I am not a writer. My grammar and spelling is atrocious. So I'm happy that you did it. And I'm happy that that was your inspiration to do it, that you view it as a business and you take it seriously and you're owning it. And you're having fun with it, which I think is a wonderful thing. And we don't always get to encounter that. And so I just want to thank you for doing it. And owning it and it's a business, and girl, you're going to do it. So thanks. I think that's wonderful.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. And thank you for having me here. This is a lot of fun.
Oh, good. Yeah. This really sets our tone for the week. We all love getting together on Mondays and just chatting and seeing who we're talking to and just having a fun time. But this has been a really fun conversation. So before I wrap it up, let's do last minute comments, questions, statements. Valerie, you, and then Russell.
Okay, congratulations on those Global Book Awards, gold and silver. That's so incredible. So happy for you. Can't wait to see what comes forward.
Thank you.
I'm sorry for my puppy emergency.
Emergency.
That she lied to me. One more time, Tricia, because I always regret if I haven't tried to reach out a second time because people are listening, they're not seeing. Would you tell people how they can find out more about you?
Sure. My website is the best place, triciacopeland.com, TriciaCopeland.com. And Russell, maybe we could meet up for a marathon sometime. Tell me your favorite one and we can do it.
Russell's run 10. Russell's retired from marathon.
Oh, okay.
Because at mile 16 of my last marathon, as I passed the marker, I looked up and thought, why am I still doing this? I'm so stupid. But I'm still a runner, and that's what my Rita is for, because I needed a new running companion, and that she won't be ready to run with me for at least a year and a half. But we have started growing, and she is teaching me how
Patience.
puppy is. But we're gonna get through the puppy.
Here's my kitty.
I see you have a cat.
I have a cat as well.
Has a cat that shows up on our show sometimes too.
She does. Yep. She's a mess. She is a hot mess. But no, Russell, I'm excited to watch this journey of you with Rita. I think it's going to be the sweetest little thing. I'm so excited for it. I'm glad that you have it. But you guys, I am so glad, Tricia, you could join us this morning. Hang out with us, laugh with us, tell us about your books and your journey to becoming an author. So thanks for spending the morning with us. All right, you guys. You ready to do this? We're going to set off on our Monday. So we hope all of you guys have a fantastic Monday, a great rest of the week. If you're cold, please stay warm and keep it in your state. Texas does not want it. So please keep it where you're at. Okay. We love you all, but we prefer to be warm down here. But have a great rest of your week. And until next week, you guys, it's kicking off February. Can you believe that? We're already a month into the new year. But until then, bye for now, everybody.